Welcome to Gaia's Love, a podcast of brief messages to help humanity bridge the gap to the new earth. My name is Vivienne Gerard. It is my delight to be a scribe for consciousness today, sharing the wisdom that flows through from Source. Here we go. Episode 265. It is Tuesday here in Cincinnati. It was gorgeous this morning, crisp, perfect for a run. It was so nice to be outside. I think it's getting a little hot and stickier again as the day goes on, but we are really enjoying some sweet, beautiful September weather. And I'm still a little bit congested. I was going to say I'm a little under the weather, but maybe not. There is definitely some energy that is clearing, and it feels in alignment to share the song that has been resonating with me because it matches so well. So yesterday and today, both days, the same song has played on my shuffle when I've gone for my run, and usually I don't have songs repeat that often because I have so many on my phone. It's called Joy Like Spring, and it's by this beautiful couple. Their performing name is Mirabai, I think it's Seba. They are fluent in English and Spanish, and so they have these beautiful songs that combine the two languages, and it's like poetry listening to them. They're just amazing, and they have this really sweet masculine, feminine energy, and some of their music is Sanskrit or chant based, and it's just amazing, very inspirational. So yesterday the song played, and then today again it played, and so I was listening to the lyrics and reflecting on how I feel like that is playing out right now for me, and if you're listening, I'm sure there's a match for you. So I guess I'll read the lyrics first, and then we'll kind of contemplate it together. So here are the lyrics. Joy Like Spring, Mirabai Seba, and I'll put a link in the comments so you can listen to it. They start in English. I arrive in every second in order to laugh and cry. The rhythm of my heart is the birth and death of all that are alive. My joy is like spring, so warm it makes flowers bloom in my hands. My pain is like a river of tears so full it fills up all the four oceans. And then they switch to Spanish, and then they end the song saying, I arrive in every second, in every second. It's simply beautiful, and it's funny to me that I'm talking about joy like spring in a season where we are clearly in autumn or fall here in the Midwest. So the paradox of that is not lost on me. Why is this relevant? With a big sigh, with a big exhale. For me, I'll share it from my perspective and then allow you to come up with your own conclusions or reflections for your life. For me, this time of year seems to be a time of purification and releasing. I don't know if you have listened to last year's podcast around this time, but I was away for a week in September in California with some of my closest friends, and we had just this amazing time of being still and sharing and talking. And we had this home that my friend had rented that was right by this collection of water and rocks and desert and blue sky. I mean, just this magical place with a little mini kind of beach right on this river. And so I spent quite a bit of time in that water. We also went up to see the sequoias, but most of my time was really purifying in this clear water that was running down from the top of the mountains. And it's been exactly a year since I've come home from that experience, and so much has happened in that year. So much has just happened in the last few weeks. We are really in a time where, as I described last week or over the last few weeks, we're able to reset. We're able to set intentions about the kind of life that we want to create and complete the karma and let go of the old stories and step fully into whatever magical world we actually want to be living in instead of the heaviness and the drudgery of what many of us have thought is what life has to look like. When we are at those places of purification or releasing or resetting, what I find for myself is my soul can see ahead very clearly what's coming and what I'm creating and all the fun that's next. And yet my body, like in the episode last week with jet fuel or jet lag, my body is kind of dragging behind my soul going, hold on, I'm not there yet. I'm not ready for that yet. And so this physical releasing often needs to happen, and it looks different for all of us, and it looks different depending on which chakra or what kind of story it is that we're letting go of. For me, last year there was a lot of third chakra, so a lot of digestive issues and some throat chakra. My third eye was crazy activated. I had so much tension in my head from how much energy was moving through my third eye. What I find right now at this moment is it's all throat chakra. It's crazy how much stuff is in my throat, my ears, my nose, and I align with water as a resource, as a tool for healing. And so I'm drinking a lot of water and keeping all of that liquid flowing so that I don't get infections or mucus that's, gross. I don't have the gross stuff yet, which I'm not going to, so it's really good. And it's a time where I am listening to my body so carefully. What am I craving and why, and then am I serving my body with what it needs? So extra spinach in the smoothie this morning and celery juice because the greens are really helping me clean out my body. Excuse me. But for me at this time with the throat chakra, what I found on Sunday, I had my meditation and I used my voice to reflect what energy I could feel moving through me. So there was a lot of energy out of my throat chakra through my voice. And what I found when it was over, I just wanted to lay in my bed and fill my throat chakra through my ears with high vibrational sounds. So I laid in bed for a couple hours and listened to the Echelon Effect and Ashana, two of my favorite high vibrational, pure receiving energies from my ears. And so there's this way that the soul, the mind, the body come into greater alignment by listening and observing and reflecting and following the guidance. What I see in my meditation, I take action on that, and then my body is healing at the pace that most serves this journey that I'm taking. My question that I've asked so many times over the last few days is, why the throat chakra? What is going on that we need to clear all the stuff in the throat chakra, and what is arriving? And what my soul keeps showing me is there's going to be a lot more external communication that I'm going to be stepping into. So lots more gatherings and retreats and circles I'll be holding, and meetings and collaborations. There is so much more energy that's going to be moving out through my throat chakra and coming in through the stories and the coaching work I'll be doing with so many more people. It's an up-leveling, if that's the right word, or a capacity expansion for my throat chakra. And so anything that's in the space right now that isn't in alignment with that my soul can see isn't in alignment, my body needs to release. And often when I go through, in the past when I would go through any sort of illness, because I don't get sick very often, when I am ill, I used to just berate myself. You should have done that. Why didn't you do it this way? You caught somebody's germs. Now you've got to suffer. You're not getting work done because you're laying in bed sick. I would berate myself for being ill. And what I have moved to so powerfully in my journey is acknowledging that the body is the physical representation of all of this energy that's moving through. And treating my body with kindness and gentleness and concern and compassion, and then honoring what the body needs, allows my body to stay a really strong conduit for energy to move through and out. That feels so important. Let me say that again for myself and for you also. Our bodies are our temples. They are our conduits of energy. In the physical world in which we live, our bodies do the physical work of energy creation moving through us. And so the kinder we are to our bodies, the more we listen and honor what our bodies need, the more energy we're able to run through our body. Which means the more in alignment we are with our soul, with Source, with all that we came here to do. But if our bodies are weak and sick all the time, out of alignment, we can't flow through in the powerful ways that we thought we wanted to when we were souls arriving in the body. And this beautiful song, it empowers me by validating that. I arrive in every second in order to laugh and to cry. My soul is in my body to have these human, beautiful emotions and experiences. And so I can focus on my joy or I can focus on my pain. And either way, it's going to be powerful energy that moves through me. So I talk about my experience with my throat chakra. What I feel as a collective match, which feels important to name right now. We are moving from a world of suffering and struggle and pain, so much collective pain, so much individual pain, which adds to the collective pain. It feels like everyone's always going to be suffering. We're moving from that type of experience on earth to one that is much more joy-filled, much more love-based. And in order to get from one to the next, from pain and suffering to joy and love and creative expression, there's movement that has to happen. It's like my throat chakra. In order for it to expand, in order for my capacity to expand, to get from where I was to where I want to be, I'm moving through a process of releasing, of letting go of that which no longer serves. It's exactly the same for all of us as we move from pain to joy. We are very familiar with pain and suffering and our stories that keep us in the pain and the suffering. We're not so familiar with the stories of joy, with the way joy feels in our body. We sometimes see it in the people around us and we maybe have a little match for a moment, or we feel like, oh, maybe we could get there, and then perhaps jealousy comes over, like, oh, they're happy, but I'm not. We have so many ways that we push joy away from us. Or we have a little bit of joy that we function in and we think that that's an amazing way to live and so good. And we don't realize there are, 50 million times more levels of joy, circles of joy around that's possible for us, that we're not even allowing to come close to us because we think this amount of joy is all we can handle. We are starting to crack open those old beliefs and have little cracks in the wall that let some of that joy, that joy like spring so warm it makes flowers blooms in my hand. Our hands are starting to see that there are flowers blossoming, tiny little buds that are starting to come forward. And what happens when we are offered that image, when we feel a little bit of joy coming in, for example, listening to my voice, hearing how joy is so present even as I'm releasing and clearing old stuff. The image that I chose for today when I was on my run this morning was of this beautiful little bush, a little plant of mums that is starting to come open. All the little buds are starting to flower, they're opening. And so half of the bush is like little green buds, and you know that there's a yellow and orange inside because around it there are some orange and yellow flowers. But it's not opened yet. That's where we are. That's the collective experience right now. Some of us are full on blossoming and shining all this joy, and other people are going, ah. Some of us are still those little green buds that know that there's all this beauty inside that's ready to open, joy like spring. And everywhere we are in that continuum is perfect. Nobody's ahead or behind of anyone. But that's what's starting to unfold or ripple. And it can feel, we can dig our heels in and be stubborn because it can feel overwhelming or not real, or like I'm telling you a fairy story that's never going to actually come true. So it's easy to dig our heels in and say, I'm not participating, I don't believe, that doesn't feel true to me. And what I would say is it's happening regardless. It's going to continue happening, and honor the ways that it's starting to move through your life. So if you are feeling ill right now or unwell, or there's a lot of energy moving through your chakras in ways that don't make sense, perhaps this message for you is relax and allow the energy to move, and honor your body and treat it as this incredible gift that it is in the physical form, so that your soul can play here on earth. And allow the joy to bubble through. And also let go of the timing about it. You know, that little mum bush that I'm going to show a picture of, there's no schedule by which it has to all have every flower opened. It's just each one is budding as it's ready, and the same sun is hitting that whole bush, the same water is feeding the bush underneath. Like, everything is the same environmental experience. It's just certain buds are ready and others are not quite there yet. And it's the same for us. You know, the process I'm moving through with my throat is exactly in the right timing for me. And the more I just love my body and honor the pace at which I'm moving, the easier and more graceful this transition, this expansion will be. Yeah. So listen to this incredible song when you have a moment, and delight in what they share, the vibration of joy that they offer. It's so pure and so beautiful, so inspiring. Oh wait, there was one thing I was going to add. That's so funny. Yeah, this is great. So one of the, I don't know if I've done that before. I've called back my yawn. I have one more thing before the yawn ends. One of the ways that I am playing with joy that is a stretch for me to experience. I have co-created with my beautiful friend Alicia Mathewson this Patreon space that we are calling Creative Play with Viv and Alicia. And it's so much joy. It's so much joy. And I can feel my whole body just bubbling like little champagne bubbles right now. We are following the lunar cycles because we both enjoy that so much. And in the space, only in the Patreon space, we are offering a new moon card reading, which I do, and full moon chanting by Alicia. And then once a month we get together on video via Zoom, and we just chat about life and crazy cool stuff and what's going on with my throat and what she's doing in Ireland and how we can have more fun in life and what it feels like to have fun. Whatever. We just ramble through whatever awesome energy wants to move through us. And when we're together, that's some really good energy. So I am going from this space of the podcast right into creating the video with her next. And then we'll post that on our Patreon page later today. So if you have not heard of Patreon, I highly suggest that you look it up, www.patreon.com. It's this really cool platform where creative artists are able to be sponsored or supported by patrons in small monthly amounts, and then that money funds their continued work. So Alicia and I have a page that we are creating together with all of this fun, playful content that is just awesome. It's just awesome. And it's only on Patreon. You won't find the stuff that we're doing there anywhere else. So, yeah, I'm going to go activate my throat chakra with way more joy and lots of laughter. And then we'll be sharing that in the Patreon space. So perhaps that's a way for you to step into this belief and this knowing that I have that our world is meant to be more fun and more playful, way more creative. And so this is one of the ways in which I'm showing up to do that. And then also you get to hear Alicia and I laugh, which is just good for the throat chakra. Just good. All right, now I'm going to wrap up today's podcast. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Thank you for tuning into this vibration of pure love. I invite you to join me in aligning with the optimal health of your mind, body, spirit in the virtual community of Viv's Energy Gym. You can learn more at mysouljourney.com. Let's take this message of Gaia's love out into all of our relationships and communities today. So much love from my heart to yours.